Hey guys, let me thank you for getting on, and let me try to answer anything that can help you out here.
Going to take our first question from Tom Canavan, AP.
Hey Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
Good. Last year you talked about this year was going to be different because you were having a senior class returning, plus there's going to be more kids coming in. Has that proved any problem, or has it been an easy thing to deal with?
Well, I don't think the problem's going to come until the class of 22, Tom, because what happened is in 21, the guys that were seniors, the guys that had 1 year of eligibility remaining in the 2020 season, they don't count on our scholarship limitations for 21. But the way that it's, at least today, the way it's set up is that in 22, those guys that have a free year of eligibility, they will count. So it's going to restrict how many high school students get the opportunity as long as players stay for that year. And if they don't give us scholarship relief, then it's going to put all the onus on the head coach to make a decision. Do I want this player to stay on our team, or would I rather take a new player in, who's a freshman? So I don't look forward to that. If they don't give us relief, though, that's what we're going to have to do, and it's all part of the job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keith Sargent, NJ.com.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Keith.
How
How
are
you
you?
doing?
Doing well. Rutgers hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2012. And I know college football is different from the days when Ray Rice would get 380 carries over a course of a season. But what type of role do you expect Isaiah Pacheco to have this season?
Well, it doesn't have to be different, Keith. We can still give us, if the guy's good enough, we can give it to him that many times. But, I think Pop looks great right now. He's practicing well. He's really gotten even bigger and stronger than he was. I'm excited for him and for us. I think he's a big time running back. I think we also have some people behind him that are good players. So we're going to have the ability to play more than one, which is critical, especially playing in this league. And I'm looking forward to that being something that we are able to count on in a productive way.
Chris Eisman, Gannett.
Hey, Greg, just when it comes to replacing Michael Donfor on the defensive line, I mean, who are you kind of looking at in that mix for that job? And has anyone, I know it's obviously really early, but has anyone kind of stood out so far?
Well, I think it'd be Maya Ahana too, and then Ifan, who transferred in from Temple. Those two would be at the top of the list. And we had one padded practice so far, and I was pleasant. I wasn't surprised. I shouldn't say that. I was pleased with the way they played.
James Cratch, NJ.com.
Greg, what's the next step for Johnny Langan and the package with the offense? I know last year it seemed like by the end of the season, defenses were kind of keying on him. Where do you kind of take it, and where does he kind of fit into your quarterback situation now that you don't, with Art gone, you don't really have a set backup?
Well, again, it's a really good question, Cratch, because when it boils down to is you look at all your skill players, and Coach Gleason and I sit down and say, okay, how many touches do you want this guy to get? How many touches do you want this guy to get? And there's only so many touches to be had. And you have to earn those touches. We don't give those away. So Johnny, if he earns the touches, if he's the best use of that opportunity, there's a lot of stuff we can do with Johnny. What we need to do better is we had some open opportunities in the throw game with him, right? When Johnny comes in, people change their defensive structure. So you need to be able to throw the football so they can't do that. We had two receivers that had opportunities that if we hit them, it changes everything the way people play us when Johnny Langan's in the game. He needs to make those throws. If he makes those throws, it's going to open everything up in the run game. So we've talked a lot about it, and Johnny knows that, and we're working on it.
Bobby Darin, 24/7.
Greg, with the dead period opening back up, can you just talk about the ability to bring guys on campus for visits? And are you going to tweak anything considering, just getting back to allowing guys on campus?
All good questions, Bobby. It's going to be most of it's going to be new, right? Because we're still in the COVID era. It's not like it went away. So what can we do? What did we used to do that maybe we got to be careful, or it's not even a good opportunity anymore? Places to go, things to do. Are they still good? You know, you don't just take the itinerary out from a year ago and use it. So there's a lot of time being spent on what's the best way in 48 hours that we can show a prospect and their family who we are and what we are. And, you know, I often look at visits as a small piece of the entire puzzle of recruiting a young man. But the guys we bring in June, I think it's going to be really important because they have not had a lot of exposure to Rutgers, whether it's either growing up or at some junior day. So we're really trying to get the guys on campus and let them see what our players, our coaches. To me, it's more about the people than the buildings. So we want to spend time together, and it's going to be interesting because a lot of the things are going to have to change.
Aaron Brightman on the banks.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask, just in terms of your approach with the defensive line, how that's kind of shifted over the years from your first tenure. It seemed like speed was a big focus your first tenure, and now, you know, being in the Big Ten, is that a big factor in changing in terms of bulking up, you know, RPOs? Kind of what are the factors in how you've evolved in that approach?
Well, you know, it's kind of probably been mischaracterized a little bit. People thought that in my first go around here, I wanted, you know, smaller, faster defensive lines. Not the case. We just couldn't get the bigger, faster players. So what do you end up doing? You get the smaller, faster players. You know, you do your best with what you can get. So we would take a guy like Eric Foster, who was a middle linebacker in high school, and in our weight program, he would grow and we'd get him bigger, and he would be an undersized defensive tackle who was incredibly quick, incredibly instinctual, and he became an All-American. What I'd really like to do, and I wanted to do it then as well, is go recruit big, fast, athletic defensive linemen. So they're really quick and they're 300 pounds, and you know, so that's what we're trying to do, and we're having a little more success with that in our recruiting because it's a better program, right? We've been able to have some past success, and now we're in the Big Ten Conference, so there's more to it. There's more that I think will bring a player here, and that also counts for the defensive line. So that's really the evolution. Is still, we want really tough football players who love the game of football, and if they can be big and fast rather than small and fast, I'm all for it.
Gonna go to Richie Schneiderite with Rivals.
Greg, last week when we talked to you, you said that the secondary needs depth. A few days later, obviously, you guys added that depth in Christian Braswell. What can you tell me about him as a player, and what stood out about him and made you want to add him to the team?
Well, you know, Christian's played a lot of football against good competition, and he's been a productive football player. We have background information on him, which, you know, made it easy for me to know he'd be a good fit in our program. So to me, it was a very good opportunity that we took advantage of. I think he's going to fit in well. You know, modern football with, you know, almost everybody running spread offenses, it requires more defensive backs. And when you start playing a lot of nickel and you play different dime packages and all the things to deal with all the spread offense, it thins your depth out quickly, right? Because that guy can't be in two places at once. So I think we need to continue to build depth in the secondary. We also need to have position flexibility in the secondary. We need to be able to play people at multiple positions because you're forced to. In a season when things happen and a guy can't play that week, you can't just, you know, you can't put your 7th or 8th best defensive back on the field. You have to put your 5th or 6th best. And it can't be locked in by position. Now, when you're installing a new defense, they got to learn their first position first. But now that they've been in it a year, I think that some guys are going to be able to play more than one position. That's going to be critical.
We'll take a couple more questions. We'll go to Anthony Fusilli, Rutgers Radio Network.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Fooch, much safer this week. I love it. I love it.
Yes, I'm tied down. Coach, the first couple how the guys to get back, and also what's it the young guys that, you know, to show them the ropes.
I lost you on most of that question, Fooch.
One more time. What's it like? How excited is it to get back to the practice field with the guys? How important is it to have the older guys showing the young guys the ropes?
Oh, I got you. I loved it. Yeah, it was great. The staff, the players, it was so much energy. You know, it's early. We had 3 practices and only 1 in pads, but the energy, every one of those practices was outstanding. The competition is outstanding, and that's my big thing, as you know. The competition raises everyone's level, and then your team gets better. And they're really competing, and they're having fun competing. They're practicing smart. They're not putting each other in harm's way. So I think it's been a great start. Now it's into week 2. Now you start getting into the more the middle of this thing, and there's going to be contact every day now and pads. They're all padded practices now to the very end. So I think we're going to learn a lot about what kind of strides guys have made in the off season. And it's great to get our newcomers, like you mentioned, the young guys, integrated into what we're doing. Some of them are picking it up faster than others, as they always do. Some are more physically prepared than others, and that's just their background and training and their God-given abilities. But it's really good to get them involved, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get back out there tomorrow.
Chris Eisman with Gannett.
Greg, when it comes to Christian Izzian, I mean, what did you see about the way he kind of improved over the course of last season? Now, how can he build on that, starting with spring practices?
I think you're right, Chris. He did improve, and I think it's a confidence thing. And I don't mean like he didn't have confidence. I mean he became confident in what we were asking him to do. So the more repetitions he built, cumulative reps to me are so important. So we asked Christian to do a lot of different things in our defense. He's an elite player in our defense. So as he got to do them more and build cumulative repetitions, I think he got better and better. And that's when you start to be able to anticipate what offenses are going to do, because you're not thinking so much about what your job is. That kind of just rolls in right off your lips. And that also allows what I think is really high-level athleticism to take over. That one play he makes in the Nebraska game is as good a pick as I've seen in a lot of years, and he did it several times in the back half of that season. So he's working very hard. He's studying tape. He and I have spent time together. I look forward to him we need him to have a big year, and I think he's ready to do that.
Going to go to Chris Nowalski with Rivals.
Hey, Coach. Staying at safety, a lot of fans are excited to hear about Elijah Clark. Early enrollee. How is he faring so far?
Well, Elijah has. He got on campus and did a great job in the winter program. He really showed, why we were so excited about him as a recruit. He's coming along. He got bumped up a little bit, so he's kind of rehabbing a little right now. So it's not anything too serious, but we're not going to be able to get a great look at him in spring football. But we saw what we needed to see. I think he's got to learn our schemes, but he's very, very athletic, and he's very, very gifted.
Going to end with a couple more questions. James Cratch, NJ.com.
Greg, how's Aaron Lewis been so far? I know he's a guy who was a heralded recruit, kind of flew under the radar last year, played, but didn't necessarily make a major impact. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Aaron's getting better and better. He plays with great effort, great intensity. He's a little undersized, so he's got to continue to train and eat right and continue to put weight on. But I love the way he plays the game, and when he gets bigger, he's going to be a force.
Tom Canavan, AP.
Hey, Greg, I know kids have to be vaccinated when they go to school next year. Are you planning on having a team vaccination maybe after spring practices are over?
Tom, that kind of bumps up against all that HIPAA stuff and all those rules. Our guys are part of the student body, so what the regulations are for the regular student body, we'll kind of melt right in there with them and do it how the Rutgers students are doing it.
And take our last question from Anthony Fusilli, Rutgers Radio Network.
What's it going to be like to have fans at the spring game, and how excited are your guys going to be to have fans actually watching them in the spring game?
Well, I am excited. I know the players are. We're all looking forward to that, and that by the end of spring, I'm sure we'll be tired out and ready to go have the excitement of having some people watch us play. And I'm also excited and very, very encouraged by what I'm hearing about next fall, and can't wait to unleash our crowd on the Big Ten. I think we're gonna, it's gonna be a huge part of our home field advantage. And like I said, I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing about as far as capacity and what we're going to be able to have in there. So keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully things keep getting better with this virus, and get that Rutgers, SHI Stadium being that home field advantage that I remember.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
Okay, thanks, guys.